Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Jeannie. I hope you have your cup of coffee or your hot tea or some kind of fun beverage. It's a beautiful day to celebrate, isn't it? I love this Saturday because this Saturday is the day before Easter. And to me, Easter means new life. We get to rebirth. We get to look at what's happened from January until now and see where we've progressed and see what things we would like to change to give our life something new. It's time to rebirth. It's time to grow. It's time to open up. It's spring. That's what happens in spring. Have you noticed? Walk around this week and look at how things are all beginning to open up. The weather's getting warmer. Doors are opening, windows are opening. I've been opening my windows at night to cool things down because I'm living in this beautiful area where it's so warm right now, and I'm so grateful for that. So how beautiful are you living life today? How beautiful are you living life? I believe that most of us live a beautiful life every day. But what happens is oftentimes we're hit with the unexpected. And that can literally crush our world. 10 years ago, my world shattered. And I remember looking at my ex-husband and saying, "Can you fix shattered glass? Can you fix it?" I wasn't so prepared for the unexpected. And when the unexpected hit, it rocked my world. It crushed my world. It crushed my inner spirit. And I was left feeling like a worn out dish rag. There was nothing inside me that could find the life that I so desired to live. And the one thing that kept me going were my 4 children, because I just believed so deeply in my heart that where I was in the moment wasn't where God wanted me to be at all. If God was the man or woman or what, like if God was this spirit, this father that loved me so deeply, why, hi Stacy, why would he have me being in such a bad place? And so I thought, I don't want my children to believe that there's more bad than good. We all know we're going to get some adversity. But what do we do when the unexpected hits? Well, I want to share with you today, let's prepare for success. The more prepared we are, when those unexpected events happen, because they're going to happen, just know that in your life, you're going to get hit with the unexpected. Somebody's going to say something to you you weren't expecting, good or bad. Somebody, accidents happen. Doesn't mean it was your fault, doesn't mean it was somebody else. It just happened, right? And so oftentimes we get caught up in the what caused this versus what do I do now? So when that unexpected happens, the first thing you need to not do is question it. Like, why did this happen to me? How come I can't get through that? You guys, that's a stopping question. There is no answer for it. Someday down the road, as more things align, you'll find out your answers in subtle ways, and you're gonna go, oh, that's why this happened. Okay, I can deal with this more. But let that come on a natural basis. Your first thing to do to keep moving forward when the unexpected happens is to say to yourself, what do I do now? What can I do now? How can I make this the best situation? How can I make this the best in this big mess? Because a lot of times the unexpected gives us a big mess. And we're like, whoa, like yikes, this is a lot. So what do? We ask ourselves, so one way that we can prepare for the unexpected so that we can just glide right through it like a Ferrari, just shh, and not be scratched by it or not be too hit by it, is number one, like I taught you last week, breathe. Take lots of deep breaths in your life. It resets you, it refocuses you, and it helps you look for everything that's going right instead of everything that's going wrong. So the first thing, hi Samina, you want to do is start looking for the things that are going right. Okay? Also, a way to prepare for our unexpected. I don't know if you got this awesome little worksheet I put out to go with my Facebook Live today, because I thought it would be a great thing for you to always have on hand, is when you're doing activities or you're at a crossroad and you really don't know what kind of decision to make, so that you can kind of prepare yourself to guard against the unexpected, okay? Because we want to just keep moving in life like this constantly. Sometimes we can zoom forward like a amazing sports car, hugging those curves, doing this great stuff. And other times we just need to be driving really, really slow. And we just need to be gently maneuvering around those obstacles. Sometimes we have to go over them. Sometimes we have to go really close next to them. Think about all these rocks in the middle of the road and you're in a Ferrari. Like, you don't want to hit them, because if you do, you're going to destroy the bottom of your car, right? So you have to become really good at navigating. That's what we need to do in our lives. We have to become really good at navigating the things that come into our life, expected or unexpected. So when you're at a crossroad and you're like, what do I do now? What do I do now? I don't know what to do. I just got hit with this big unexpected event. What do I do now? The first thing I want you to start saying to yourself is, when I make a decision, like, what decision do I have to make right now? Do I put money in the bank, or do I pay for my car to get fixed, right? You have to say to yourself this question: how am I going to feel if everything lines up just like I planned it? So let's say you got in a car wreck. You need to fix your car. You have the money to fix your car, but that money you were really saving, let's say for, I don't know, a outside pool, right? And you have $5,000 in that outside pool fund. But right now you need to make a decision because you really need your car to get to work. Ask yourself this question: if I spend that $5,000 to get me a car, and everything lines up, can I save that money again for the pool? The answer might be yes, right? If you have a really good job and you're saving money all the time anyway, you might have to reallocate those funds. So ask yourself, if everything lines up, it all works out, I find a car for $5,000, my car, I get the money from my car, it's been totaled, and I owned it, so now I have $14,000 to spend on a car. Is that better to take that money and do that? Or is it better to do this? And how am I going to feel? Talk up to yourself about, how am I going to feel if I spend that money on this car? In my eyes, I'd feel really good about that, right? Because it would get me to work. It would help me make more money. I could help my kids around. Do you see how you look at that? The next question you ask yourself about this money, I'm just using this as an example, but about this, is to say, how am I going to feel if it falls apart or it doesn't work out? How am I going to feel if I never get my pool because I had to spend money on my car? How am I going to feel if I can't find a car that was as good as the one I had last time? How am I going to feel if I have to tell my children, I'm so sorry we can't have a pool this summer. It might have to wait until August because I really need to fix our car first. Involve your families. Ask your children, how are we going to feel if we have to walk to work every day and walk to school every day because I'm not using this money in the need that we need right now? How are we going to feel about that? We don't prepare ourselves enough to know what's coming in the future. We just act, and then these things happen to us and we're like, what do I do? And then we're caught in this ocean and we don't know if we should tread water, do this crawl, or get on our backs and float until somebody rescues us, right? So let's prepare for the unexpected, and let's prepare for what do we do next by asking ourselves these questions so we don't throw ourselves into a deeper ocean with sharks swimming in it. Because that's what our world can feel like if we don't know how to control the things we actually can control. What I'm giving you today are questions that are going to keep you in the driver's seat. So no matter how hard that storm hits you, you're not going to fly out of that car. Your car that I'm giving you, the car that I want you to visualize yourself as, I want you to believe that it has the ability to run in water, to swim in water, to float in water, to go in water. It can adjust to anything, okay? So, but we don't want to put ourselves in even a worse space because we made another decision in our haste that actually threw us into another unexpected event. Okay, so when you're at that crossroads, something's happened to you and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Ask yourself, well, what can I do? And here's my little safety net of money that I have. I was planning for this, but right now I need to use it for this. Ask yourself, how am I going to feel about that? Because feeling and emotion move us. Emotion. It puts us into, people don't talk about emotion, right? We talk about anger and we talk about frustration and we talk about being happy. But what we don't realize and why we get ourselves into some pickles sometimes is because we let our emotion move and we didn't have everything else lined up. And it puts us in a deeper state of the ocean where we're like, now I have to learn how to deal with sharks. And I didn't even know which swimming movements to use, okay? We don't want to do that. We want to stay in control of our inner state. We want to stay as close to our spirit that God gave us as we can. So we say to ourselves, what can I do next? How am I going to feel if I spend this money? What are going to be the outcomes of it if I do? Am I willing to live with those? Am I willing to live with those? If the answer is yes, ask yourself the next question. How am I going to feel if it falls apart? If it falls apart, what am I going to do? Okay, well, if the car falls apart in 3 months, I'll know I at least have $3,000 saved, so we'll be okay. It's going to give you peace. When you have peace, your life moves forward so miraculous. That's what I'm going to say. Life becomes magical. There's no other way to say it. I live a magical, miraculous life because this is what I do to get there. And I want to share this with you because my alignment process changed my life. I went from homeless to 2 homes. I went from being the DRE and barely making a living to making a really great living as a life coach. Not something I thought would happen necessarily, but I kept taking forward steps when I heard my intuition speak. When you coach with me, I'm going to help you get really, really good at hearing your spirit and aligning your actions. And this is one way you can do it. If you're really not sure where that spirit is in you, sometimes it's hard to find. These questions will help you find that. And it'll help you line up. It's so much easier to drive on a straight road and see where you're going than to be hitting obstacle and jumping through hoops and trying to drive through little rocks and roads because you weren't prepared. So prepare for this and know that when a crossroads happens, use these questions to give you the best decision that's going to keep you in alignment and keeping you moving forward instead of sideways, because we could make far more ground moving forward than we do sideways. We might have to move sideways a little bit, but we always want to keep our eye on the goal. Where do we want to go from here? What am I doing? Another great question to ask is, what do I need to do to prepare myself if this turns out badly? I told my daughter that the other day. I said, I'm really glad I have an emergency fund. Funny, we didn't have to use our emergency fund when she got in a car accident. Everything got taken care of miraculously. I didn't even have to pay for a rental car. People are like, what? My insurance agent gave me one of his extra cars to use until my car got fixed. Why was that? Because I stayed in my state and I've already had so many unexpecteds that I'm like, oh, this is no big deal. This is what we're going to do. And I had to ask myself in that moment when they were like, well, there's no cars. I was like, no, there has to be a car. There's millions of cars around here. Somebody has to be able to help me. And when I shared my dilemma with my insurance agent, he was like, you know what? I know you well enough that I'm going to let you have one of my cars. Well, what did that do? That built so much goodwill in humanity. I'll stay with him forever now, right? I'm not going to go anywhere. I know he's going to take care of me. That's how we dealt with the unexpected. Well, when I didn't have to pay for the rental car because there weren't any in town anyway, that's why you let me use his car. Imagine, I'm like, huh, this is all taken care of. I didn't have to dip into my emergency fund to pay for the rental car because we found her a car within 6 days. Something she could afford, something that, and better, it's better. She feels safer in it. When we feel safe, we can drive more easily through the world, right? And we can explore the world and we can have fun. We don't have to be afraid of the unexpected because we're going to know what to do when it happens. If we know what to do when it happens, we're not going to be afraid of it when it does. So our next question is, what will be the next step when I reach my goal? So that's what I said to my daughter. We've got your car. We've got you safe again. We're on the road to success. What's your next step? What do you want to do next? Where do you want to go from here? Be planning that now so you aren't going to get a lot of unexpected. We don't get a lot of unexpected when we know where we're going. We get a lot of unexpected when we don't know where we're going and we don't know how to handle it when it happens. So ask yourself, what's my next step? So as soon as you reach that goal, you celebrate it, you have fun, and you're ready to keep driving, right? We were called to be people in motion. That's why this pandemic has been so hard, because we weren't called to shut down. Shutting down is the worst thing we can do, right? And when they shut everything down, we don't know what to do with ourselves because we like to move. Long ago, if you do history, we were designed to be hunters and gatherers, not sedentary people. And when the agricultural movement came in, that's when things started to change and people became sedentary. They started building homes. They didn't just move like the nomads did all throughout the world. That's how we used to do it. But then through evolution and change, we went into agriculture and learned how to grow our own food instead of hunting for it. It changed the world and the way we live. But in our nature and in our spirit, the design that God gave us is to move. It's why people are struggling with their weight more, because we sit more when we're watching our computers or doing our computer thing. We're not moving. I constantly make our bodies move, right? The educational field says if our boys and daughters are moving too much, they have ADHD. But really, they just want to move, right? One of the greatest learning tools we can do when we're teaching our children is to have them move while learning. The United States Marine Corps figured that out very quickly, that when their men are running, and men and women are running, and they're doing all these things, they have them using their brains too. And they're doing songs to learn stuff while moving. They figured it out. If we're moving and we're learning and we're singing, we're going to remember that information no matter what. That's how they train our soldiers for scary, unexpected events. Because as soon as that happens, their brain is going to go right to that song. They're not going to have to think about it. It became natural. This is what I do when. This is what I do when. And they have it all designed in a beautiful cadence. So when they're running, they're not thinking about running. They're thinking about what they're learning. And it goes hand in hand. They figured out the gift of alignment. I want to give you the gift of alignment. I'm so glad, Stacy and Samina, that you joined me this morning. There's a handout, so you're prepared now. If you need to go, what were those questions Jeannie said I should ask myself when I'm creating a decision, when I'm making a big decision? You have that in your hand now. It's very accessible. You can also go to my website if you didn't get it through my newsletter. Go to my website, CelebrateYouLifeCoaching.com, and you'll see a section where it says worksheets for the Facebook Live. Grab that. Keep this with you. This is such a great guide. The last one, and we just don't do this enough, is how will I celebrate the outcome? How will I celebrate the outcome? When my daughter and I bought her car, or we actually went and played last Saturday, looking at all different cars, and I said to her, don't worry if we don't buy anything. Let's just go look and explore and see which cars you like, see which cars you don't. We're going to be very fun. We're just going to enjoy the day. And we both laughed because miraculously, as we're out driving, I said, well, where do you want to eat? And she and I have always celebrated all of her things through Chick-fil-A, because Chick-fil-A is not in our area in North Dakota, unless you're in Fargo. So we didn't get to ever, so on our way home from Minneapolis, when she was having all her surgeries, we always stopped at Chick-fil-A and Starbucks. It was our way to celebrate something good. Even if we had gotten bad news, we still looked for something good to celebrate, right? So we were laughing that it just lined up, that all of a sudden she's like, Mom, there's a Chick-fil-A not very far from here. And I'm like, well, then let's celebrate. Let's celebrate the fact that we enjoyed the day together. Even if we didn't find the car you were looking for, we're getting closer. Life's like a treasure hunt. You have to turn things over till you find what you're looking for. It was so fun, and we celebrated. Oftentimes, you guys, when I've completed like 3 tasks or even one, if it's a big one, I take 5 minutes. I'm going to share with you a little vulnerability here about Jeannie, but something that people probably don't realize about me. I do like Netflix series, but I know that I can get caught in binge watching, and that keeps me from good stuff. So I set my timer, I kid you not, and I allow myself to watch for 5 minutes, and I celebrate what I just did. By celebrating that, it builds that momentum for me to go to the next task, because I know when I get that done, I'm going to celebrate with that 5 minutes. I'm going to celebrate. We don't celebrate enough. If you are moms with your children and they come home, celebrate their good days. Ask them, instead of, how was your day? Say to them, what new and exciting thing did you learn today? That's a forward motion. What did you learn today? And be ready to tell them something you learned. Parents, that's the greatest way to teach your children about life, is to share with them what you learned and to let them share with you what they learned. And if they say, well, I didn't learn anything, right? That's how they've been programmed. I didn't learn anything today. Ask them, say, really? Because this is what I learned. I'm sure you learned something. Or was there something funny that happened today? Guide them into strength and truth instead of negativity and sorrow. Let's get out of negativity and sorrow and guide your children to truth. Have fun with your children. That's why God gave them to you, to have fun. So play with them. At first, they're going to think you're a little whacked because they've never heard you say, Mom, ever say, what's fun and exciting in your world today? They're used to hearing, what was your day like? Well, it was boring. How was your day? It was fine, right? Then you're not making them engage. You're not pulling them in. Pull them in. Say to them, what exciting and fun thing did you do today? I remember asking my son that once. I'm like, anything strange and unusual happen at work today? And he was so programmed. At first he said no. And then all of a sudden he goes, Mom, that's really strange you asked me. And I said, why is that? And he goes, oh, this thing happened at work today with this guy and it was so funny. And he started to share. And it opened up a whole dialogue of conversation while we were cooking supper together. And we connected. And it made us both strong and ready for the next unexpected. Enjoy your lives. Don't be afraid when the unexpected happens. I've given you a sheet to coach you through so you'll make a good decision in the midst of crazy. I'm so grateful that you guys got on today. I'm so excited to always have you come and get this coaching session with me, because my goal in life is to help people have fun. We are supposed to enjoy our lives. And the more fun we have, the less crazy things happen, or we pay attention to them so we know the lesson we need to learn and we move right on. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy Easter. Remember, it's a time of renewal. How are you going to renew your spirit today? Feed into that. Hi, Trisha. So good to see you this morning. So I just thank you for getting on. Go bless yourselves. Bless your day with great things. Find the good things that you love and surround your house with them. I personally bought flowers yesterday because I love new life in my house, and flowers bring new life to me. So that's one way I celebrate. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Go have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you next week. Bye.